Hello.
All right, folks, we're going to wait 1 minute. Sam's dealing with some technical issues, so about 1 minute we'll start the meeting. Hello, Kevin.
How y'all doing?
Good, how are you?
All right.
I'm good. How about you?
Hey, how you doing? Don't get that down. And don't forget that. All right, thank you. I did.
All right, let's call this meeting to order, please. Roll call vote, or roll call.
Councilwoman Cleveland? Here. Councilman Sachsenheimer?
Here.
Councilman Jackson?
Here.
Sherman?
Here.
Councilman Nelson?
Present.
Councilman Hahn?
Here.
Councilwoman Rosso? Here. Councilwoman Campbell?
Here.
You have a quorum.
Thank you. Please rise for our pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right.
All right, our council has adopted a value statement that includes professionalism, integrity, and transparency. We uphold our values by being an example of effective municipal government through building a professional team of city officials and staff dedicated to serving the residents of Normandy with integrity and transparency. Do I have a motion to approve tonight's agenda?
I'll make a motion.
Is there a second? Second. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Let's see which minutes we've got revised here. You've got minutes for the council workshop in front of you that are revised from what you had in your packet. The council meeting minutes were not changed. Is there a motion to approve the minutes of the October 10 regular city council meeting minutes?
So moved.
There's a motion, is there a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Is there a motion to approve the minutes of the October 26th city council workshop meeting?
I'll make a motion.
There's a motion, is there a second?
Second.
Any comment? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Ms. Kiana, is there anyone that signed up for citizens' comments?
Yes, Ms. Loretta Williams.
Please come to the podium and state your name, please. And I will advise, come on up. Everyone in attendance, we've adopted some time limits. We're going to keep citizens' comments to 3 minutes and ward reports to 2 minutes. Thank you.
Okay. Well, I'm Loretta Williams. My address is 5567 Winchelsea Drive. And I'm here because I want to let it be known that I did a citizen complaint. And Chief Sanders called me on the phone and told me that it was dismissed. And the complaint was regarding an officer that I had called to my house to do a fraud report. Now, according to the documents that I submitted, it is fraud, and fraud is a crime. When someone went in my checking account, used my ID to do that transaction. Now I'm becoming suspicious on why I cannot get a police report regarding this crime of theft. That is my question. So eventually, I guess I will speak to Mr. Merrill Beckman about this later, but that is what I want the citizens to know. This is what I'm going through with Normandy. Okay? That's it.
Thank you.
Hope I didn't take up too much of time.
Anyone else?
Craig, and I'm sorry, I cannot read your last name.
Wow.
Okay.
Hello, everyone. My name is Craig Brown, 53 Olean Drive. I have a couple of complaints. I have a neighbor that's lived across from me, and they continue to park across my driveway, and they have a lot of company, and it's becoming a problem for me and my family to even get in and out of our driveway at times. I've mentioned it to Tony,
It's been addressed.
and I don't know what to do about that. I have another situation which I talked to the mayor about the tree stumps that were, the city planted the trees in the subdivision. One tree is wrapped around the gas and the water line. I want to know if it's possibly that the city can remove it. The water line busted, and they had to, the water company had to replace the concrete in our driveway. So when I bought the property,
That's the root system, correct? Is
that-
that the root system?
that's the root system. And I bought the property next door to me at 5313 Olean. There's a tree stump there. Also, is it possible that the city could do anything? I don't know what to do, but other than put stump remover into the stump, or do it have to be dug up from the root? So that's all my
Yeah,
question.
you won't get an answer
Okay,
tonight on that,
okay.
but the building inspector can take a look, see it,
Okay.
what's there, or Public Works, one of the two.
Well, what about the issue with my neighbor?
That'll be addressed.
Okay.
I've got it written down.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Craig.
All right.
Is there anyone else?
Not until later in the meeting.
Moving on. Report of officers. Well, I've got quite a bit of good news. I'll make it quick. We had mentioned this before, but I want to recognize our Public Works Director. Dennis procured a $30,000 grant to replace lighting in all of our facilities with energy-efficient LED lights, which is really going to brighten this place up. And you'll find in his report the timeline for the scheduled work. I want to recognize Major Larson for procuring a $25,000 grant to install what is the equivalent of a mobile flock camera in one of our traffic cars. This grant's going to provide for the purchase, installation, and a 5-year software monitoring the system. And it does integrate with our existing flock system. So this is going to be really nice to have a mobile flock camera that's monitored. I mean, the officer's sitting in the car, so if a bad guy drives by and picks up a suspicious license plate, he's there. So additionally, we were successful with a $370,000 grant for improvements at Hosell Park that's been approved. And I do want to add that this grant was initially denied by the Park Grant Commission, and Sam took the initiative to appeal the decision to the commission. Was granted an appeal hearing and successfully convinced the commission to reverse their decision. So we got $370,000 to make those improvements at Hosell Park. Thank you. And overall, I just want to thank our staff for searching out these grant opportunities and successfully navigating through the procurement process. It's put a lot of dollars in our coffers. Let's start with
the first grant?
First grant was $30,000 from UE to replace all the lighting in every one of our facilities. Public Works, the Shell Station, and City Hall.
Thank you.
So
Mary, will we get a list of,
it's in the report.
okay,
It's
got
in
it.
his report.
Okay, and the 370,000,
Yes,
will we get a list of what's?
I can send to you the grant application itself.
Okay, oh yeah, but when
Yep.
we get ready to install whatever we need to do, we'll have a list of what's most important.
Oh, it's already, it's proven. There's no changing it. It's,
Okay,
Yeah.
so that means with video and all that type of stuff too? And with our lights?
I'll just,
Yeah,
I'll
definitely.
get you the details.
Okay, thank you.
Ward 1?
I would just like to thank Public Works for their diligence through the speed bumps. They were very consistent and put the signs up, painted them. Thank you very much for you and your crew. I did get a complaint that there's people coming through the park at night, and it seems like, I would hope that it's fireworks they're shooting off. I can't swear to that, and I know police can't stay there all the time, I get that. But if there's ever, because it is a park, so if there's ever free money, if they could just put a camera to see if they could monitor it. There's been quite a bit of them here recently. I'm worried about a potential fire, because it's washed out there and you can't drive back there. So if there would be a fire back there, there's no way the fire department can get to it. So that's what I'm concerned about, is I just don't want, because that would spread very fast to the back of those houses. Because the grass is probably 4 or 5 feet tall, so it's gonna go up fast. So I don't expect police to be there all the time, but if they could just, when they do their daily routes, if they could just take a little extra time and drive a little slower and listen, I'd appreciate it.
Thank you.
Steve,
Hang on,
which
hang
park
on.
is that?
That's Parchester.
Parchester, okay.
Oh, Rochester.
Yes, sir.
Anything else from Ward 1?
I just want to thank the police department for just being so diligent with the traffic on Bermuda. It's kind of calmed down to me a little bit. We still have some speeders, but it's getting better. And that's all I have.
Thank you. Kevin? Tony?
Well, I'd like to give kudos to Public Works Director, speed bumps. They're helping, we should've got 4, but I'll accept 2. But they're really helping, they're really helping. And I also wanna, talk about, we had 2 homes in Ward 2 that's been vacant for over 10 years now. Both of those homes have been completely rehabbed and they're ready to sell, so that's a plus for the neighborhood. 2 houses that we plan on tearing down, now they're rehabbed and a family of, can move into those houses, so rather have vacant houses than, rather have somebody staying in the house than the house being vacant, so,
Very nice.
yeah.
Thank you.
I attended a multi-ethnic Chamber of Commerce event on behalf of the city of Normandy in order to promote our neighborhood as a wonderful place to live, a wonderful place to raise a family. Beyond that, I don't have anything else.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Rick?
Oh, yes, I want to thank Public Works and the administration, Mayor and Sam, for getting the leaves, preparing to get these leaves. That's very important, the speed bumps, potholes, things that needed to be done in the city, and I appreciate that that's happening. And we also had a chess tournament at Lucas Crossing over the weekend that was very successful. We had about 250 kids, maybe 150 parents from all over. We had teams from Mount Vernon, Belleville West, Belleville East, and all in the Metropolis area here. It was a great success. And we also have one December 2nd at the high school. So if you guys doing something on Saturdays, you want to come out and watch some great chess, watch the kids have fun, and it's a great thing for the Gateway Chess League to co op with the Normandy Collaborative to help our kids, and get them on track with education. Because one thing we know, we can go to elementary school, we can go to, actually, we can go to early childhood, elementary school, middle school, and go to college here in Normandy without leaving higher education. So that's a great thing. And we as board members, we're going to stand up and represent the city well. And that's all I got to say. And thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Debbie?
I attended a Beyond Housing Fall Conference, and the Legacy Center is in the old Walbridge School at Maywood and Lucas and Hunt. They take the buses from school there from 4 to 7. There's 20 various activities, arts, drama, dancing, computer. I mean, I made a handout and it's on the table, just for you to know, and it's for students who reside in the 24-1 and or the Normandy School Collaborative, and it's becoming very successful. And anyway, so that was of that. I went to a partnership meeting, and Senator Williams is working on providing Boeing training and independent engineering degree at UMSL. He stated that North County is 40% driving force in the state's economy, which was interesting. Let's see, an UMSL fall report, they have their bi-yearly inviting community. The ophthalmology department is beautiful. It's going to generate interest nationwide for students to come. They also have a pupil project, and I was a part of this when I was a teacher, and it's still there, where you get training in identifying children who may have eye conditions and can go through therapy and better their reading. It really works. And so that's available. The, let's see, 1, 2, 3. There's a comedian coming at St. Anne's. His name is David Graham. It's a fundraiser, donation only. You choose what you want to donate at the door. And he lives in Florissant, but he's been on American Clean Comedian, Comedy Central, America's Funniest People, etc. He's known as a family-friendly comic, and it's November 19th from 2 to 4 at St. Anne's Parish Hall. So it's going to be fun, I'm sure. The fifth thing I have is residents are, and I've seen this too, high school students are loitering all along Natural Bridge. And it seems to be right around the last bus, like activity bus, and they may be, I don't know, but I don't see Officer, will she be coming here later, Officer Chief Sanders? Huh?
She's on Zoom.
Oh, she's on Zoom, Chief Sanders. It may be a problem with the kids not taking the late school bus home, and they're choosing to walk, and I'm wondering if the school system can kind of address that, because kids are also loitering into the street, and you know, it could be 10, 15 kids kind of walking around and hanging out, and we all don't mind that, but we'd hate for a child to get hit by a car. And winter may slow it down a little bit, but now we've got planning time to contact people to kind of address it in the spring. Anyway, that's it.
Thank you. Yolanda?
Debbie touched on the same thing that I was gonna talk about, the kids walking home from school, so.
I'll ask Chief Sanders to address that when she gives her report. And Tony had a comment to add to his
Yeah, I had a comment, about the leaf pickup. That's next week, correct?
Yes.
Okay. You think next year we can do a little bit better on the signs? Cause you can't, I mean, if you're driving up to the sign, you don't know what it says. I had to stop and get out the car and read it.
Well,
So
that's-
for people just driving by, they're looking like, what does it say?
Yeah, we put some flyers out on people's doors too. We've been trying to get the word out.
Okay.
We can try to do something different with the sign.
Yeah, maybe, because U City does pretty big sign. Leaf pickup this
Yes,
weekend, and they can change the,
At public.
Maybe we can get some kind of banner.
Right,
What would be
right.
What would be nice, and this is just a quick thing, is a banner for each ward. And then put one in each ward what the dates are gonna be.
right.
That's kind of what I was shooting for, was to do something like that, but I used what I had. that was
Okay.
already in place.
Well, maybe next year we can
Yeah.
look at
No,
something like
that's
that.
great.
Get the
Thank
word out.
Well, later.
Yeah, let's save it till police. City administrator?
So my written report is mostly, has to do with the business that we have to deal with tonight, so I'll just kind of address each of those in turn when we get to it. I did want to correct the mayor, it's a $350,000 grant from the Municipal Park Grant Commission with a $20,000 match, so it's a $370,000 project, but a $350,000 grant. And other than that, as far as leaf pickup, we can try and change those placards out to where they're a little bit more visible from the road. Just a days, we could even do that tomorrow if we need to give a little bit more time.
Did you just mention the leaf pickup?
Yes.
I was wondering if it was possible, like kind of like what Tony says, and I'm not sure if this is something that we would have to put forth through an ordinance, that the leaf pickup would happen like at the same time every year. I mean, the weeks don't change, so the sign would be a permanent sign that would say like first and second week of November. Does that make?
It does make sense, yes.
So you wouldn't have to put the dates. You would just, everyone knows when the first and second week of, like we would pick just 2 weeks and just say these 2 weeks.
Right.
And it would be a permanent sign.
You put those on the banner, then you don't have to keep
Sam?
getting them printed.
Yeah, let's stop carrying on our conversation about leaf pickup. If there's, yeah, we know we need to get the word out. Let's, Sam, do you have anything additional?
The Councilwoman Rosso, I have a question.
Well, it had to do with leaf pickup, but if that's not appropriate.
Well, go ahead, I mean,
So, yeah, people are not gonna be able, thank you, Sam, for addressing it this year and not waiting till next year. Because residents are not going to know, and then they're going to be upset, and then phone calls are gonna be made, and, so I took it upon myself I labeled it, citywide leaf pickup, starting November 20th. Keep leaves at curb. And, I bought the styrofoam at the dollar store with a permanent marker, and I did it for our board. So it's not that complicated and it's not perfect, it's better seen, but, yeah, I would thank you for addressing it now.
Yeah, and we'll try and move the signs around if we need to, increase the font size. we may just be able to put the dates on there, and then people can, look into the website if they want more
It
details.
doesn't need the website, it doesn't need, citywide, there's a lot that could be eliminated for the dates to be clearer.
Okay,
Nothing else for now.
thank you. Chief Sanders, if you also want to include in your report the concern that was raised about the kids hanging out and loitering and walking down Natural Bridge.
Good evening, everyone. How are you? So the police department report, it is time for my report, correct?
I'm sorry?
I was just making sure it was time for my report.
yes.
My phone
It
has
is.
been going kind
It
of in and
is.
out. Okay, so the police department report for October 1st through November 1st is as follows. There were 582 summonses written, which is a near 500% increase from where we've been for the past year. So I'm extremely proud of the men and women of the Normandy Police Department for their diligence and proactive activity in dealing with some of the traffic violations like Councilwoman Cleveland mentioned on our main arterial roads, and that will continue to remain a focus for us. There were 165 police reports generated, which is a huge increase in police reports as well. But I mean, when you're working and people are stopping cars, you're going to generate more police reports. There were 46 accident reports taken, and then the call service data is unable to be extrapolated because we just switched over, St. Louis County switched to a new CAD system, and we lost half of the month's worth of data. Midway October, they switched everybody in the county to a new system. So hopefully going forward, the new system will have all of the data for the month, and I'll be able to provide that to you guys next month. Discussion items are the flock camera installations. I don't know if anyone noticed, but our first flock camera was installed at Bermuda and Woodstock. The camera was functioning and it was doing great for us for a couple of days until St. Louis County dropped a large adopt a highway sign directly in the path of the camera. They did that today. So a little bit of humor to the situation. Now we've got a big adopt a highway sign in front of our flock camera, but we are working with St. Louis County to try to get that sign moved from in front of our camera. The other two cameras are expected to be installed on University and Florissant Road, and then the other one at Lucas and Hunt Natural Bridge tomorrow, Wednesday the 15th. So we should be up and running on all of our cameras by tomorrow evening. I'm really excited. It took a long time, but we have finally arrived. And like Mayor Beckman mentioned, we will be adding the Flock device to both of our traffic cars. So the traffic cars will tie into the Flock system and be able to grab real-time data from people that are passing them in traffic. The juvenile delinquency issue on Natural Bridge, it's not lost on the administration at the City Hall. I've actually met with all of the stakeholders in the business district over the past couple months in reference to the mayhem or the pandemonium that occurs every day at 3 o'clock. We have a lot of drop-in centers, and from the Core Collaborative to Epworth, down to the St. Louis County Library, they provide free meals to students after school. And while historically the only people that took advantage of these programs were those that really needed them, with a very target-rich environment like a middle school now in our town, we're seeing a huge influx of students that are just not taking the buses home and they're staying in the community after school, and it's creating a nuisance. I've spoken with Sam and Mayor Beckman about the issue and the amount of resources that we're dedicating to the corridor. And we're in the process of working with Andy regarding some legislation regarding minors unattended in the corridor. And we're planning a large meeting with all of our stakeholders to take to the school district, because they have a door-to-door policy, to find out why they're not enacting the door-to-door policy and maintaining responsibility for these juveniles after school. And we've seen an influx into criminal activity, larceny, fights, and it really drains the resources of the police department every day from 3 o'clock until 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock in the evening. So we're working with the stakeholders in the community to try to combat this issue, but it's at the top of my list, as everyone in City Hall can attest to. I'm out there every day myself from 3 o'clock until 4 or 5.
Thank you, Chief. Are there any questions for Chief Sanders?
Chief, I don't have a question, but I do have a comment. I attended a MML conference on juvenile crime and municipal response to juvenile crime. Could I go ahead and forward you some information so that we have collated data from Florissant, Hazelwood, and other neighboring municipalities?
I absolutely welcome any information that anyone would be willing to share or any assistance that anyone could lend with helping us to kind of combat these issues. And I think it'll be worth looking at as I work with Andy to try to draft some legislation to try to hold the parents accountable for the, the actions of the students after school. And my plan is to hopefully go to a school board meeting next month and talk to the school board about some of the issues that we're seeing and the issues it's causing for our constituents and business holders on the corridor.
May I ask a question?
Sure.
The, Chief Sanders, I guess, I hear juvenile crime and such, and so has there been crime-related events happening with the kids socializing along Natural Bridge?
Yes, ma'am. I don't think many of them are socializing. I think that they're in an environment that's controlled and their numbers are controlled and there's an adult and student population ratio where there have to be so many adults for so many students, yet somehow 50 or 60 kids are leaving the school every day and they're trolling through the neighborhoods. We do the best that we can to keep them off the, keep them on Natural Bridge and out of the neighborhood, but they're meeting up to fight, and we've had an increase in criminal activity and reports taken in the Natural Bridge corridor as a direct result of the kids getting out of school every day.
Legally, do they have the option not to take the bus? I mean, I would think that would be a legal issue and they should be taking the bus.
Well, one of the questions that I have for the school district is if there's some type of, some measure that they can put in place, or if the children are not utilizing the buses on a regular basis, then maybe they lose those bus privileges, and then perhaps we'll get the parents' attention. Because right now, there's nothing that stops them from walking. My issue is just that sometimes they're walking in large groups until 9 or 10 o'clock at night, and they're unsupervised. And the amount of children that are unsupervised is something that it confounds us.
And I don't know how it happens like in Normandy, but I know in other districts, if you leave school property and you return to school property, like if you leave unsupervised and you come back unsupervised, that means that you're trespassing. And if you're a walker, you're a walker. And if you're a rider, you're a rider. And you can't leave and come back. And I don't know if that's a policy that they exercise
So
or have in place, but
they have a door-to-door policy. So they watch they're responsible for the children from door to door. So from home to school and then school back to home. And like I've spoken with everyone, the problem isn't they're not going home. So the school remains responsible, and Principal Williams has done a phenomenal job assisting us with holding the kids accountable for the behaviors in the corridor. So if we're able to generate police reports and forward information about crimes that are occurring, the school is taking internal disciplinary action against those kids when they return to school. But the bad thing is now they're suspended for 10 days, and guess where they are? They're in the Natural Bridge corridor all day long waiting for their buddies to get out of school. So it's a huge issue, but we are approaching it from multiple facets to try to address it from every angle and bring all the stakeholders and the parents and the school and everybody to the table to resolve it for once and for all.
Thank you, Chief.
Yeah, thank you.
Any other questions for Chief Sanders? Thank you, Chief. Public Works, Dennis?
There is a large amount of material in your packet, so I'm not gonna go through the whole thing, but I'm gonna hit a few highlights just for the month. Overall, we had 153 work orders for the month. It's kind of old news because it happened right before the last meeting, but technically it is October business. Our parking lot has been done here at City Hall. It's all been sealed. As far as our workers go, we hired a laborer in October. We were happy. Then he was a no-show, no-call after his first paycheck. So we're back to square one on our temporary labor. The good news about that is we've got a young man that's been working as a temp hire for a little over a month, and he's interested in coming to work here, so we're going to explore that a little bit further. We also offered the supervisor position to an individual. However, he didn't make it through the background check. So we're back there, but the good news there is we're doing a background check on another guy now. So things are, they were negative, but they turned positive pretty quick. As everyone knows, we're scheduled to vacuum leaves November 20th, 21, 22, 7, and 28. We can always add additional days if we need to. The plan is, I know the question about the signage, where the signage is right now is where we're gonna start at, and then as we finish, I was gonna move the signs into the other
Oh, so you
wards.
started in Ward 1.
Yeah, we're gonna start down there and work this way, and then that's why I put the signs out in the circle, was the hope that people would see that it was coming, to get interest.
Okay.
So that's kinda, that was my thoughts there, but we'll put some, bigger numbers out on so you guys can read the signs. We've been working on potholes. Thank everyone for the kudos on the speed humps. That was a large undertaking that kinda came to fruition really fast. The day that we approved it, the day after, they gave us a date to put them in, so we went with it, so. But that went fairly well. You guys talked about the energy efficient grant, so we can go by that. They are starting here in City Hall next Monday. And we're gonna be doing it during regular operation time, so it might get a little messy in here. Bear with us while we're doing that. Park benches were repaired at Hosel Park, and the fountain concession stands and restrooms were winterized for the winter. So that's my report.
Thank you. Any questions?
Yeah, I have one.
Go ahead, Tony.
As far as the leaf bag doesn't pick up gumballs, right?
You know, they're probably too heavy if it's,
Right.
but
Suck 'em up.
we're gonna find out. This is the first time I've used this leaf vac. It's
Okay.
been completely redone. So
Okay.
my hope is it's got some pretty good suction on it. And if you're out talking to your people, please express to them not to put sticks in it, because that's the quickest way to clog that thing up. That I do
Okay.
know. So, but we're gonna see how long it takes us to do the whole city.
Okay.
So,
Thank
Mr.
you.
Yarborough,
So you're
you
gonna
have-
try
Hang on, Rick. Hang on.
the gumballs, right, to see if it.
Yeah, if they're out at the roadside, we'll try to suck them up. We'll see what happens.
Okay.
Rick,
But-
please.
So, Mr. Yarborough, you have enough help now for the leaf back?
We have no additional help, you know, it's gonna be, 3 of us taking turns of driving the truck and one operating the suction and one operating the rake, so.
So I can tell, because, you know, in my neighborhood, every neighborhood's got a lot of leaves. But certain people have more, and they put them out there on the front, and then if the wind blows them back, they still gotta put them out there, so, you're gonna continue to get them until they're gone, pretty much.
You know, we can't just come out and get little pockets, but
Right.
what we can do is when we're out there in a neighborhood and somebody comes running out there with their leaf, we can take our time and wait and help them.
Yeah, okay.
Something like that, you know, we'll be as friendly as we can. It's not gonna be, that's why I didn't wanna put individual dates on everywhere, because I wanted the flexibility. I didn't want somebody calling us saying, well, you're supposed to be here on Tuesday and it's
Right.
Thursday and you aren't here yet. I didn't want that, so that's why I just gave a time span.
Well, I appreciate for getting them, that's the key.
Any additional questions?
Yeah,
Please.
why are we still doing the chipping? When is that gonna be transferred to waste management? Or not the
Chip-
chipping, the pickup of limbs?
The limbs were picked up because our people have never been formally told that we passed an ordinance. So I was when I got calls about them and people were stacking them up at the roads, rather than letting them sit there and break the bad news to them and tell them they had to bag them. It was a conscious decision to pick them up, but it's kind of a soft date is November 30th of when we're not gonna do that. We're trying to get the word out. I don't know.
Well, it's gonna be in the newsletter.
Okay,
We're hoping
that's-
to get it in the newsletter and advise people first, even though we passed the ordinance.
When's the newsletter coming?
I don't know that. Kiana's working on that.
But that was, to answer your question, that's why they were still being picked up. It was to keep our citizens it wasn't fair to them just to stop when they already had them on their curb and they didn't know.
All right.
I think, wait, what did you mean by sign install, sign maintenance, sign replacement?
That's putting the speed bump signs up.
Oh,
Those were all signage. We did some stop signs. We replaced some stop signs. We still have more signs of some that have been vandalized and bent over and stuff. So there'll be some more of that in next month's report.
I have a concern about, from Circle to Marietta. When you turn left on, what's that street, Circle, you can't see the stop sign. When I put out, the signs for the city hall meetings, you can't find a place to put the sign. That house on the left, the grass is, it's a realtor, I suppose, but it's not been mowed or anything.
Are you talking about that big one on the corner,
Well,
that big
like
house?
from Marietta Circle, that whole along South Florissant is just a forest of a mess. Who owns that property? I've brought this up before. Well, anyway, it looks terrible. It's, you can't see going, I missed Circle quite a few times. David has witnessed that. Because I can't, he's outside, I don't know if you pay attention, David, but I go past Circle because I can't see it.
I'm pretty sure that would be the county's responsibility, or even the state's, to cut that back. And we've done a little bit of trimming, but we can't, I've never taken a truck in there or anything.
What's the process then to get the state to realize? So encourage residents to call and.
Couldn't hurt. I mean, and you know, I know Richard has called on code enforcement. I know he's called them, but I don't know if it falls on deaf ears or what.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
All right, moving on. We've got city treasurer.
He texted me and said that he's under the weather.
Okay.
And he won't be here tonight. I can give a.
If you would.
So in addition to his written report, which summarizes, I'll just call attention to a few things that he normally calls attention to. In Part A, in summary of income statement, first I'll start by saying that this is the tentative year-end statement for fiscal year 2023. So this is with some minor stuff that doesn't really affect any of the numbers here. Excluding that, this is what we will send to the auditor come January to basically audit this financial report and report back to council, and then send that to the state of Missouri and the state auditor there. So as far as Part A, summary of income, you can see year to date, so this is entire fiscal year 2023, we had a net income of $440,000. That's a surplus of $440,000 being added to our general fund balance. And then Part B is summary of general fund balance. You'll see there that the 1.36 million is our our unrestricted cash balance. You'll see the 680,000 is what is in the cell tower fund. Unearned revenue from ARPA, you'll see that's at 0. That's because we've spent all of our ARPA funds according to the budget that was passed in fiscal year 2023. So we are now post ARPA, I guess you could say. That's kind of a weird to wrap your head around because it's been thrown around so much for the past 2 years, but we have spent it all now. And then you'll see there are some due froms from the general fund to other accounts, and it brings it to a total unrestricted cash balance of $705,000. An income statement, you can see the budget to actuals. We actually came in under budget on our revenue for some various reasons, but we still came out with a surplus. So we were 1.6% under budget on revenue, and then Section D is expenditures, and you can see it broken out by department. On total expenditures, we spent less than what we budgeted for the general fund, 0.3% less than what we budgeted, about $12,000. Some of the departments went over, like administration went over by 1.1%, police went over by 0.3%, and park went over quite significantly, but that is matched by funds that are transferred from the Parks and Stormwater Fund, and then you'll see court and street, which is Public Works, were under budget. And overall, as the city pretty much came in right in, within $12,000 in a, $4.3 million budget. We came in right in what we were budgeted for expenditures.
Why did the parks, why is it minus 24% with the parks?
That's because, so actually there's a resolution before the council tonight kind of regarding that, especially with the TIF funds, the TIF economic activity taxes being paid back, and a large amount of cash is going to be put into the parks restricted funds. We transferred anything that we could allocate and designate as a park expenditure, we did, and it just so happened that it went over budget, but that's essentially using restricted funds. So I believe a majority of that comes from a portion of the public works salaries from laborers to the public works director is paid out of the parks fund. So it went over budget than what was originally budgeted, but we have a resolution kind of after the fact approving the transfer of funds. And I can talk about it more later, or if you have additional questions now, I'd be happy to try and answer.
Sam, isn't that listed in your report for the stormwater?
Oh yeah, that was.
The last item in your report?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right, any additional questions? Is there a motion to accept the September 30, 2023 financial report?
I'll make a motion.
Is there a second?
Okay.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Old business, Council Bill 23-25, second reading. An ordinance of the City of Normandy, Missouri, amending ordinance 767, previously adopted October 11, 2022, dissolving the special allocation fund for the Natural Bridge Road redevelopment area and terminating the designation of certain portions of the City of Normandy, Missouri relating to that redevelopment area, and authorizing certain actions relating thereto. This is the dissolution of the TIF, and it's been discussed at length, but is there a motion to adopt Bill 23-25?
A motion.
There's a motion, is there a second?
I'll second.
Any questions or comments? Roll call vote, please.
Councilwoman Cleveland?
Yes.
Councilman Sachsenheimer?
Yes.
Councilman Jackson?
Yes.
Councilman Evans?
Yes.
Councilman Nelson?
Yes.
Councilman Hong?
Yes.
Councilwoman Rosso?
Yes.
Councilwoman Campbell?
Yes.
The ayes have it. Bill 23-25 is adopted as ordinance number
795.
795. Thank you. Next item under old business is Council Bill 23-26, the second reading. An ordinance of the City of Normandy, Missouri, amending the City of Normandy, Missouri Personnel Policy Manual by adding Section 19, Employee Safety. Is there a motion to adopt Bill 23-26?
So moved.
There's a motion, is there a second?
Second.
This is the ordinance that will build the framework for department heads to build their own safety policies. Is there any comment or questions? Roll call vote, please.
Is that 23-26 you said?
23-26, yes.
It was.
It is mixed up.
Yeah, 23-26 is about the natural breed.
Right, and you can change that to 23-26 is the personnel policy manual. You might have a packet
Okay,
that's
so
got those.
23-25 was noted, okay, so
Yes.
23-26 is the personnel manual.
That is correct.
I had a question.
23-25,
That was the dissolution of the TIP.
okay.
Thank you. Yolanda?
So with the personnel manuals that will be adopted by, or started and adopted by the department chairs, will this at all help with our insurance premiums? And then also, will there be input given from the insurance company to help the process along so that we know that it's basically valid and thorough?
And I don't know the answer to that question. I can refer to Sam.
So the answer to your questions are generally yes. So we recently switched to a new workers' compensation carrier. We actually have a visit scheduled for next month in which they're gonna come out and they're gonna look at our policies. And so this is gonna be really big because we're gonna have new policies that aren't really, while still effective, pretty old at this point. So we'll have new up-to-date policies. As far as, was this written with input? This was written and designed, the structure of it was designed based off of what Missouri Employers Mutual and their safety consultants recommended for a municipal safety plan. Most of the specific policies that, the general safety policies in 19.2 are actually taken straight from the carrier. They have sample policies. So I think just about, I mean, they were changed a little bit to fit the city, but the general language from section 19.2 and the disciplinary part of the policy, 19.3, were taken from our previous carrier and their recommendations for the safety program. So when we have our safety meeting, and review policies next month with our new carrier Travelers, I will definitely be asking for input and any recommended changes.
Thank you.
Any additional questions? Roll call vote, please.
Councilwoman Cleveland?
Yes.
Councilman Sachsenheimer?
Yes.
Councilman Jackson?
Yes.
Councilman Evans?
Yes.
Councilman Nelson?
Yes.
Councilman Hong?
Yes.
Councilwoman Narasso?
Yes.
Councilwoman Campbell?
Yes.
The ayes have it. Bill 23-26 is adopted as ordinance number
796.
796. I've got some things out of order. Excuse me for just a minute. No, I'm looking for council bills. I have the resolutions first. I've got them. Okay, I'm going to change our protocol a little bit. I'm going to ask for a motion to have the first reading of Council Bill 23-27.
Is it numbered correctly?
It is.
Okay.
I'll make a motion.
There's a motion. Is there a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Is there a report that you'd like to give on this, Sam? Any?
Sure. So, I'm sorry, did we have the first reading?
We haven't had the first reading. We have a motion and a second for the first reading.
Okay. As far as, okay, so this ordinance would change our code of ordinances in the way it relates to basically that strip of land between your front yard and the road. generally it is understood and everywhere in America that that is not your property, it's part of the right of way, but as a homeowner, you're responsible for cutting that property. Our code of ordinances aren't very clear about that, and they don't codify it very well. So the ordinance additions are in red, but Andy took this ordinance and basically just clarified some of that. And our thought is that this will help us enforce, particularly along Bermuda Road and the ditch, that there's this big question about who's responsible. Is it the county, is it the city of Normandy, or is it the golf course? This would basically give us the, clarify the enforcement mechanism to say that it is the abutting property owner who's responsible to the road. And just beyond that, I think it's good to have it somewhere clear in your ordinance that you are designating that responsibility.
Thank you. Any questions?
Yeah, so, again, I like to speak in hypotheticals, just for the benefit of most everyone. So hypothetically, this is really meant to be used for not necessarily individual homeowners or residents, but more so that we could help get participation from those who have not been participating in maintaining the right-of-way. Is that correct?
Well, I mean, it applies to all property owners in the city, right?
Yes.
But most people already mow the lawn, what's called the tree lawn between their sidewalk and the street, right? Even though that is city property, everybody already mows that themselves, right? This just allows enforcement mechanisms for those property owners who are not maintaining the portion of right-of-way that abuts their property.
Thank you. All right, we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. An ordinance of the City of Normandy, Missouri, amending Chapter 220 nuisances, Article 2 weeds, and Chapter 510 streets, sidewalks, and public places, Article 1 in general regarding obligations of property owners to maintain abutting or adjacent rights of way. Thank you. Is there a motion for a first reading of Council Bill 23-28?
I'll make a motion.
We have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Andy, can you enlighten us on this?
Yes. So, the legislature the Missouri legislature in the 2007 Video Services Providers Act authorized municipalities to impose a levy on the gross receipts of any video service provider operating in the right-of-way, i.e. using, cables in the right-of-way. And that levy was set at 5%. And that's what the city of Normandy, like everybody else in the state, has been levying since that time. Last year, the legislature amended that act to begin to, over the course of the next 4 years, decrease the maximum authorized levy by 0.5%. So as of August 28, 2023, the maximum authorized levy is now 4.5%. Next year it will go down to 4%, all the way down to 2.5% in 2027, and that is where it will remain unless and until the legislature decides to change the levy again. So right now, the levy on the books in the city of Normandy is 5%. As I just said, it's actually by state statute currently 4.5%. Don't worry, Charter has already decided that they're only paying the 4.5%. They are on top of it. This just amends the city ordinances to reflect the maximum authorized levy in state statutes. And I drafted it in a way that we won't have to revisit this every single year. The levy drop will be automatic to comply with statute.
All right, any questions? We have a motion and a second for the first reading. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Bill 23-28, an ordinance of the City of Normandy, Missouri, amending Chapter 645, Video Service Providers, Article 2, Video Service Regulations, regarding gross revenues and video service provider fees. Thank you. Is there a motion for the first reading of Council Bill 23-29?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Sam, do you have staff report on this ordinance?
Yes, this ordinance is a budget amendment to the fiscal year 2024, which we just started, but we had a few developments, including some of the grants that were mentioned earlier in the meeting, that basically we need to account for in the budget, as well as some of the TIF disbursements that will be happening after, since you guys passed the ordinance earlier in old business. I know the council has had some time to review it. I'll just go over a few of the larger items. We did receive, so on first, and this is line item 10409, building permits. We did receive a cost estimate for the second building permit on the USDA property, and it was honestly a little bit higher than I expected, which is good news because that means the permit fee will be higher than what we budgeted for, and we'll get more money. So you'll see that that was increased to $150,000 for building permits this year. And on the expenditure side, it's in the budget, and my recommendation is to use a portion of those funds to hire a part-time housing clerk. This will help with the workload with our building inspector and code enforcement officer. This person can be in the office, do a lot of the paperwork stuff, and allow him to have more time in the field actually doing what he's trained to do, as opposed to shuffling papers around, which he's having to do pretty much all himself right now. It will also help with things like phone responsiveness at City Hall, which I know is something that we've struggled with. And it will just be nice to have an extra person in City Hall. And as far as this building permit fee will more than cover it for at least this year. It's a part-time position, and we can reevaluate it at the end of next budget year, but it's only it costs less than $30,000 to bring on someone part-time for the role we're looking for. So
Can you explain?
Go ahead, Yolanda, go ahead.
Can you, I didn't hear, with the person working in courts or with the person work under Public Works?
it would be a housing clerk. So they would not be a court employee. They would mostly be dealing with things like occupancy permits, helping Rick schedule inspections. So as far as, you know, Rick is a member of the Public Works Department, they would be between Public Works, and they would also help administration.
How is that different than hiring someone who is just a part-time Public Works employee?
Well,
Or not Public Works, but a part-time, what do you call it? What is Rick's title? Code enforcement officer. How would that be more beneficial than hiring someone who's a part-time code enforcement officer? That's my question.
I mean, I've spoken to our code enforcement officer, and he himself said that he would rather have someone to help with the paperwork than have another person out there in the field with them. And it just kind of, you know, if you're familiar with the job duties, he spends a lot of time out inspecting properties. He spends a lot of time out doing proactive patrols and speaking to residents about getting into compliance. But there's a whole lot of back-end work on that is just paperwork. You know, getting a notice of violations printed out and mailed, finding and locating mailing addresses for people, filling out administrative search warrants, filling out inspection reports, typing them up, and sending them to people. This is all fairly lower skill labor work that it could be taken on by another person, and in other municipalities generally is taken on by another person that can, let our code enforcement officer maximize his time in the field as opposed to in the office.
So does Rick do all of that?
I would just add to that, and then I'll let you speak again. I sit at the desk next to Rick, and I will tell you, he spends a lot of time licking stamps and envelopes, and that's not the most productive use of his time. But go ahead, Yolanda.
Oh, I was gonna ask, does Rick complete all of those, paper and pencil tasks on his own?
Yes. I mean, there's no one else to do them. And, you know, we help out where we can, but like the administrative search warrant and typing up the inspections, yeah, he's doing all of that right now.
So what you're saying is, I'm just trying to figure this out. So Rick would be under Public Works. The part-time person would be under courts?
No, not courts. Now, to your point though, it's budgeted in administration, but this person would be basically a part-time receptionist, housing clerk. I mean, honestly, I don't see that if it matters if we put the salaries in Public Works or administration. But does that answer your question?
Well, I'm more asking about a supervisory, like who would be in charge of this additional part-time person? Who would be telling them you are doing the job wrong? Or...
Sure. So, and I mostly put it in the housing clerk light because we're talking about the building permit fee. But there are some other roles in which case they would report to Kiana. But for everything that has to do with housing, they would report to Rick.
So this person would have 2 supervisors?
Yes. It's not ideal, but
Who will train the person?
honestly, probably me or Kiana would train. So.
Even with the tasks for Rick?
It seems like Rick would be the trainer if Rick is the person that understands what he needs help with. I'm kind of confused. I guess I'm kind of confused as to like, if Rick is the person that needs the help, like for instance, like if I have a person underneath me, then I would tell that person, these are the things that I need you to do. And then like, if that person is evaluated, I'm asking, I guess, for our personnel edification, like how that would happen if the person has 2 supervisors and does that make sense?
Can I speak?
Please, go ahead.
Okay, Councilwoman Campbell, to answer your question, this is not the first role that has dual supervisory, okay, so to give an example, our police clerk is supervised by myself and by the police department because due to, the records retention duties, that position falls under me as well as under the police department or under the chief. So this would be a very similar situation, whereas, as far as the training of the housing clerk, this position originally was proposed in the formation of the 2024 budget as a part-time admin assistant position, but as we identified that the needs were a little more focused on assisting Rick directly, we kind of focused or centralized it on that. As far as the administrative tasks, the housing clerk would also serve as the person who generates occupancy permits, which just about anyone who works in the administrative office is cross-trained to generate occupancy permits, as well as taking cash or any transactions at the point of sale system for occupancy permits, inspections. Part of what our, any person who works the iWork system that we use is inputting the inspection application information into the system so that all Rick has to do is actually put his report into the system, marking what has passed, what has not passed for different parts of the inspection form. So that person would put in the initial information that will save him a lot more time, so all he has to do is go in there, find that person's information in the system, and be able to identify if this property has passed or failed, if that makes any sense.
Can I add something?
Please.
We did have that position in the past as a full-time person, to do that. My problem is, that we've got a lot of code violations out there that, normally go to court, and I think that person is the one who get it to the prosecutor to get those tickets or violations taken care of. My problem is that it doesn't seem like some of those violations are being taken care of, because some of the same violations that I've seen in the past over a year ago, and there's nothing happening, nothing done with that. So if he does need someone to take care of those write-ups and get them to the prosecutor and get things done and get them to court and get it going, because we haven't had things after post-pandemic, we haven't had those things taken care of. I see all of the code violations and all those here, but I still go out there and I see those same things happening in the streets. The cars, the yellow cars, the I guess you say the gutters, you know, all those things, they're still out there, you know, and we see the information here, but we never see the code guy here explaining it or getting it done. But I do understand we do need a person in that position, because in the past we have had that, haven't we?
Yeah.
Ford?
Yeah.
Okay, so in the past, I believe the housing clerk and the police clerk, it was a dual role.
Yeah.
Right. Now, and generally, my understanding of the office structure in the past, there was always dual roles for, you know,
Well,
for
I've
multiple
seen he's
people.
been working dual roles for the past 8 years since I've been.
And the fact is, it's necessary.
Yeah, it's necessary, but
So-
I just wanna make sure that if we do get this person here, we get some of these violations taken care of. If that's gonna help us, but do we have it in our budget, or can we afford it?
I moved to the previous question.
There's a motion to move the previous question, which is the question of the first reading of Bill 2329. We have a first and a second. There's a motion to end debate and move the previous question. Is there a second?
I'm sorry, I have a question.
Well, there's a motion on the floor, so let's wait till, if there's no second, it'll die. There's a motion to move.
I guess my question is about the vote.
Oh, a point of order? What's your point of order?
So a yes vote would mean that we're amending the budget to include this person into the budget. And
A yes vote on a yes vote on the previous motion to move the question would mean that we end debate and have a vote on having the first reading of this bill. This doesn't adopt anything. We're just having a vote to have the first reading of Bill 2329. A yes vote on David's motion to move the previous question is just to end debate and move forward with the vote. Is there a second?
Second.
We have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
No.
Ayes have it, motion carries.
And this is just first.
This is just the first reading.
Read.
There's a motion and a second to have the first reading of ordinance 23-29. All in favor? Any opposed?
No.
An ordinance of the City of Normandy, Missouri, amending the adopted fiscal year 2024 budget of the City of Normandy. Thank you. Next item of business. If I can find it, can somebody give me a copy of resolution 23-37?
37.
36.
I'm sorry, 23-36.
Mike
A
Sapp.
resolution of the City of Normandy, Missouri, appointing Mike Sappington to the Personnel Board. Is there a motion to adopt Resolution 23-26?
Motion.
Second.
A second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. I don't know why I'm missing these.
It happens, yeah.
Here, 27.
Now I need,
Yes, 37.
Resolution
37, yeah.
23-37, a resolution of the City of Normandy, Missouri authorizing the mayor to enter into a contract with the Village of Glen Echo Park to provide snow removal services. Is there a motion to adopt Resolution 23-37?
I'll make a motion.
There's a motion, is there a second?
Second.
Any questions or
Can
comments?
you expand on that a little bit?
Sure.
Contract.
This is part of the process that we're going through. It's a dollar, but in February, we're all gonna be one city anyway.
Yeah.
And we're gonna be doing the snowplow services for them anyway. And it's 2 streets, so that's how we came, it's just, it's so probably insignificant as far as our budget issue. Like I say, February, when the consolidation takes place, we're all one city and we're gonna be doing it anyway.
Okay.
This just guarantees them they don't have to go out and get a contractor
Right now.
until February, when they don't need a contractor anymore. That's a hard
And
thing
we'll
to
be
do.
obligated.
We'll
be obligated.
normally be obligated.
Okay.
They're just gonna have a tough time getting a contractor for that limited period of time.
Okay.
Okay,
Just want to say explanation.
Kiana, we have a motion and a second.
We need an all in favor?
I just asking that we do have a second on this resolution.
Yes, we do.
Yeah.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Resolution 23-37 is adopted. All right, moving on, Resolution 23-38. A resolution of the City of Normandy, Missouri, authorizing the transfer of additional monies from the Park and Stormwater Fund to the General Fund in the fiscal year 2023 budget to pay for park-related expenses. Is there a motion to adopt Resolution 23-28?
That's 38.
I'm sorry. Is there a motion to adopt Resolution 23-38?
Aye.
We have a motion, is there a second?
Second.
Sam gave a brief explanation of this. Is there any additional questions regarding this resolution? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
I believe I'm supposed to abstain from this vote. It's 2 parks, is that correct, Andy?
I don't,
Or,
I'm not sure you would need to abstain
Okay.
from this vote, just because it has to do with the park's tax, not
okay,
necessarily the
not the
park's
parks
board
itself.
or, yeah.
Okay, just checking. Yes, correct. Just checking.
Any opposed? Ayes have it, Resolution 38 is adopted. Resolution 23-29, a resolution of the City of I'm sorry,
39.
39.
excuse me, I'm fighting some cold medicine here. And it's winning.
Sorry.
No, we'll keep you under.
Resolution 23-39, a resolution of the City of Normandy, Missouri authorizing the mayor to enter an agreement with Sickich LLP for accounting services for the 2024 fiscal year. Is there a motion to adopt Resolution 23-39?
I'll make a motion.
We have a motion, is there a second? Any questions?
Now, is this for the audit?
No, it is not.
What is it? Can
It-
you
it's-
explain it?
Go ahead.
So Sickich actually performs like bank reconciliation, for the city. A lot of the accounts payable and accounts receivable is done in-house by myself. They check behind me and create the reports that you see for the council meetings, and they provide that to the treasurer to check behind as well. So that's
It's another set of eyes.
primarily their
Okay.
functions.
And they did in 2023 also.
Yes, same firm we used
Okay.
last year. There's a motion, and there's a second. Any
Second.
other Any other questions? All in favor? Any opposed? The ayes have it. Resolution 23-39 is adopted. Item 8, approval to move the November 23, 2023 City Council Workshop meeting from the 4th Thursday to the 5th Thursday of November because we don't want to have a meeting on Thanksgiving.
Nope.
Is there a motion to move the City Council Workshop meeting from November 23 to November 30?
Motion.
Second? All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries. All right.
Mayor,
Yes, please.
for clarification, who seconded that motion?
Aye.
Okay, thank you.
Last item of business. The Parks Board last year put on a successful family night at UMSL, and they'd like to do the same this year on Friday, January 13th, 4 to 8 in the evening. They open up the pool and the rock climbing wall and have pizza, and it was a fun night. And they're asking for a budget of $250 from the Parks Board budget. Is there a motion to approve $250 for family night at UMSL?
Motion.
We have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Any questions?
What would the $250 include?
The Normandy residents get in free, and there was an extra, they had to pay for extra staffing for the rock climbing wall, and I believe there might be an extra security guard. I can't confirm that. There was some discussion of that, but this was the final for extra staff and allowing the kids from Normandy to get in for free. And
Would this
that's,
also-
I'm sorry?
Oh, I was gonna say, I know last year there was pizza. and-
Yes.
for drinks.
Pizza, well, you had to pay for the pizza.
Little bit.
Food wasn't free. They did sell soda and candy and pizza. But the extra staff was on us
Last year.
last year. Also, this is the same as we did last year.
And this also includes the rooms.
Oh, yeah,
Yes.
there's no additional fees beyond this 250.
And just as a word of observation, I actually saw Mayor Beckman climb the rock wall 3 times.
To the top.
Yeah,
My
each
fat
time.
self.
Was it 10 feet?
No, it was 2
My
stories.
favorite saying.
It's like 30 feet.
Yeah, I had no business up there. We have a motion.
Mayor, before you make the
Tony, please.
What are they doing as far as getting the word out about this event at UMSL? Because I noticed at the last event that I went to, and I'm gonna be honest, the Jazz Fest, I didn't see too many Normandy residents there. Harry was there. He was there. I can count on my hand the Normandy residents that was at the Jazz Fest.
So Cliffy from
I thought it was.
It was pretty well attended, but it wasn't too many Normandy residents there. I would say probably about 10,
Kevin?
15 at the most.
So
Yeah.
when I spoke with some of the residents in our area, Ward 2, they was like, they was asking why wasn't it at Hosel Park? We consider Hosel Park as our park, Normandy Park. So that was the question that our constituents was asking. So that's something that we need to take in consideration next year if we was to try to plan something like that. Maybe we need to think about the park, Hosel Park.
And getting more.
Are we still talking about the
Well, yeah, there's a motion and a second for
You know,
the $250 budget.
I was wondering if I could entertain a motion to change the amount to 500 so that the pizza is free for kids? Not adults, but for kids.
That's interesting.
Are you making a motion to amend the initial motion? To
Yes.
$500? There's a motion to amend.
So 250, so a motion to amend,
To amend
to
$250.
provide additional $250 for pizza for children that are,
There's a motion to amend the initial motion from $250 to $500 to include free pizza. Is there a
For
second?
kids.
for kids.
For children. Okay. For children. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, any comment, concerns?
I mean, now that we trying to put more money in, do we think we need to talk about this to see what we're really providing? Instead of
What-
just upping money and just saying this is what we're gonna do, let's discuss it. That's all I'm talking about.
In the location.
Well, this
Isn't this the discussion part?
This is for the UMSL line.
Yeah.
Any other concerns, questions?
Well, I'm hearing it's the use of the recreation facility.
Yes.
I'm hearing security needs to be paid out of our pocket.
If there's additional security.
Right, and then what was the other thing?
There was extra staff to have staffing there for the rock climbing wall, because that'll be after hours.
And so now it's just adding free pizza for the kids.
Yes, that's the motion.
That's what.
There's a motion and a second to amend the initial motion to $500 for free pizza for the kids. Is there any other discussion on that secondary motion?
The only, I'm just, the reason why I would say, feed the kids is because, in the past, when I've done an event, I've paid for it myself. And typically it's not that hard to feed kids a barrel juice, a hot dog, and a bag of chips.
Thank you.
It's a very minimal cost in order for them to enjoy, like we were talking about with, Chief Sanders, for them to enjoy some facilities for a night is what was my thinking behind it.
Thank you. A yes vote will increase, the budget to $500. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
Aye.
Roll call vote, please.
Councilwoman Cleveland?
Yes.
Councilman Sachsenheimer?
Yes.
Councilman Jackson?
No.
Councilman Evans?
No.
Councilman Nelson?
No.
Councilman Hong?
Yes.
Councilwoman Rosso?
Yes.
Councilwoman Campbell?
Yes.
I missed a vote. What is the tally? 5-3. The ayes have it. The motion now reads, approve an annual budget for family night at UMSL to $500. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
Roll call vote again, please.
Councilwoman Cleveland?
Yes.
Councilman Sachsenheimer?
Yes.
Councilman Jackson?
No.
Councilman Evans?
Nope.
Councilman Nelson?
No.
Councilman Hong?
Yes.
Councilwoman Campbell?
Yes. Oh, you said Russo.
The ayes have it, motion carries. Thank you.
Mayor, before we, I'd like to ask you a question
Regarding,
regarding the sign, neon sign for the.
that's not on the agenda, but I'll have to talk to you after.
Yeah, because I've
Thank
been
you.
getting questions, I've been
Yep,
asking.
yep. Yeah, I appreciate it. I believe there has been additional signups for citizen comments.
Yes, Terry Gannon.
Yeah, I don't have nothing to say. What?
Did I see somebody else sign up as they walked in?
Oh, he's already been called.
All right, very good. No comment from Terry Gannon.
Yeah.
That should be in the
Good
minutes
job,
itself.
good job.
Please.
I had
Is there-
a, Sam,
there's someone's raising.
Re- Related to what, David?
regarding the building permit, line item 10-409 for the USDA. I just needed to confirm that, because during your oral portion of this, during our meeting, you indicated it was around 150,000 for the permit, which is substantially more than what it was projected to be. We're talking more than double what the original permit fee was going to be. What was the cause for that change again?
Well, is this out of order?
Actually, it is. We're getting off agenda.
Sorry, I can talk to you.
Sure.
Yeah, let's
It's all
save
set.
that for after the meeting.
Okay.
Thank you.
Sorry.
Is there a motion to go into closed
I
session?
think that, we have residents who want to say something.
Oh, citizen.
Is there a citizen, somebody want to make a citizen comment? Go ahead, please.
Real quick. Joyce McGrath, 7727 Nokomis. Couple of things. Well, first question, when is this UMSL night? It's not printed on here.
January 13th.
Friday, January 13th.
January 13th, thank you. And good job, Mayor, you were mentioning the mural project in the Normandy newsletter for providing that. And your name came up as well, Rick Nelson, with the chess club, and the 3 young men, I think, have trophies this week with the chess club. Yeah. But my invitation is there's going to be a community forum on Wednesday, December 6th, Beyond Housing on Right Way, 6 o'clock, and just throwing it out there to the community. I don't know if they've done a lot of promoting it yet, but we all pay taxes to the Norman School District, so might be a good idea to do so.
What day was that?
December the 6th, it's a Wednesday. I think it's gonna start at like 6 or 6:30.
Mr. Graff, you send me that information?
I will,
Can you do me a favor?
yes.
Just sign your name on that so that Kiana can get a proper
I'll do
spelling when
that.
she does the minutes.
Okay,
Thank
thank you.
Mayor,
Yes.
Did you say ma'am or mayor?
well, both. January 13th is actually a Saturday. Is it the 13th or the 12th?
The flyer I have is January 13th.
And it says 2023.
Oh, I'm sorry. That was the 2023 flyer.
What does she sign?
I'll have to make a new announcement on that.
Oh, she has it, no worries.
Yep, that's the old flyer.
So is the?
Yeah, we don't know yet. I'll have to make an
Oh,
announcement.
okay.
They didn't have a budget until we said do it. They
Oh.
didn't have a budget until a few minutes ago, so they probably haven't set a date. All right, is there a motion to go into closed session to discuss a legal issue and a real estate issue?
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Roll call vote, please.
Councilwoman Cleveland?
Yes.
Councilman Sachsenheimer?
Yes.
Councilman Jackson?
Yes.
Councilman Evans?
Yes.
Councilman Nelson?
Yes.
Councilman Hong?
Yes.
Councilwoman Rosso?
Yes.
Councilwoman Campbell?
Yes.
Ayes have it, motion carries. Everybody, please disregard that date that I announced. It is wrong. And for that, also night.
Should I stay on Zoom or?
Stay on Zoom.